What is going on, everyone? It is Super here, and welcome to another Injustice 2 video. So today was officially the first day of E3, meaning all the game developers were actually showing off demos of their game, including NetherRealm with Injustice 2. We got a ton of gameplay, a ton of information, a lot of questions that we had got answered during all these gameplay showcases. So I'm gonna do a full breakdown tomorrow. Make sure you come back to the channel, but today I wanted to put every single gameplay showcase into one video so you guys could, you know, have this video to come back to. Maybe you want to watch a little bit and you know, have one place to watch the video. So here you guys go. Hope you enjoy over 35 minutes of Injustice 2 gameplay. So that's going to be it. Leave a like if you enjoy the gameplay and if you're excited for Injustice. So I will see you guys next time.
We're into the tens of thousands.
Like Johnny Cage alone has like 20.
Yeah, he was a great comedic relief in Mortal Kombat X. But we really feel like it's become a big part of just kind of feeling like the characters are actually there and real. Little nuances like this that we've expanded. Justice 1 didn't have it, but as far as what's so great about this game is there were characters that inevitably were left out of Injustice 1 that really angry or passionate fans would rally for, and we're able to accommodate some of those now. Atrocitus, Supergirl, Gorilla Grodd,
Blue Beetle.
We shall see.
Yeah, we shall see. You're actually doing votes right now for who should be in Injustice.
Yeah, occasionally I'll put something on Twitter and ask people what they think, and we're always trying to get feedback from players as to who they want to see in the game.
Speaking of characters they want to see, Black Manta. People definitely want to see that character. He's a transition right now.
Yeah. He's there's a possibility of it happening. I mean, right now we only have the 6 that we're announcing, but as we did with Injustice, we'll have a cadence of release of announcement of characters.
So in the DC universe, people don't kill each other, but they do supers. Maybe if those guys can hear me, they'll do one really quick. Here is Atrocitus' super against Supergirl. In Injustice 1, one of the things in competitive play is you usually didn't do a super high-level competitive play, but they did get a little redundant. Have you added multiple supers for each character, or no?
No, they don't have multiple supers. Some our supers and our transitions are somewhat shorter than they were in the first Injustice. We still want them to be really outrageous, over the top. Supergirl throwing somebody beyond the sun and hitting them with their heat vision, but we really try to kind of get them going, especially if the transitions are a little quicker.
So I just noticed her super alone did 32, and then she did something that bumped it up to 42% damage. How did that happen?
The supers are actually, there's an interactive element to our super moves now, and so there are opportune moments at a super that a player can press a certain button or do a different combination that will actually bump the damage up, and we're not documenting them anywhere. It's just there for people to discover, kind of like our original fatalities that were in Mortal Kombat.
And brutalities in Mortal Kombat X.
Exactly. We never document them. We just let people discover them, and it's amazing how players find that stuff, and with the FAQs and all that stuff, it's suddenly documented.
Yeah. We're looking at Atrocitus and Supergirl right now. Atrocitus brings out Dexstar. What is Supergirl's power when activated?
Supergirl is her heat vision. She can fire off a number of individual shots, and she can vary them up, and so she's a very good kind of distance character, but her heat vision is her main kind of power that she uses.
Got it. So we show the level transitions. The level interactables are back. We have some of the balls in the middle there that you can swing off of, or do you throw them down? Okay, it looks like you throw them down, and yeah. So we've looked at these two characters. We're going to check out some of the new guys in just a second.
Yeah, we can check out Gorilla Grodd and maybe a character like Superman or something. Let's see what their super moves are like.
Let's see Grodd and Superman face to face, and I definitely want to see my man Batman go against Aquaman, who you somehow made cool.
Yeah. That was Aquaman's Shark's super move was probably one of the most, biggest wow moments that we had in the first Injustice game, and starting this game off right off the bat, we decided we have to top that. I think we actually managed to top it. For some people who've seen it, it's really perhaps the coolest super move that we've made to date. But the first Injustice game set such a high bar for that stuff. It's really becoming tough to think of.
Right now we're seeing kind of their default gear sets, right? This is how you start.
Yeah.
How does that progression system work?
Well, after the match, the players during the victory scheme will see basically drops of gear, and the gear is not only just like a visual aesthetic, like you can actually, Superman has like a certain headgear that'll get, but it actually affects your gameplay. It actually powers up, and so there's a number of ways, whether it's your strength, your defense, your special abilities, you can enhance your abilities, you can actually unlock moves, and so your character is constantly in this process of being upgraded. You're literally molding your characters together and creating your version of Superman. So your version of Superman after, let's say, 3 weeks of time of leveling him up is going to look different than mine, and it's also going to have different attributes, and you might have a move that's unlocked that I don't. So it's very personalized version of the characters.
And there's thousands of variations, right?
Absolutely. There's I don't want to use the word infinite, but it's way up there. It's crazy how that's really like one of the goals that we're with our games that we've been trying to do is to add customization and things that like where the player is involved in kind of shaping the character. That's the theme of this game.
Got it. So basically what you're saying is there's no way you could ever see this at EVO. How do you normalize it for competitive play? That's what people want to know.
Yeah, we're absolutely going to have a mode of play that is kind of like a normalized or even level playing field of the characters. We really want people to get into to the building up of their characters, but at some point we need a competitive aspect. The EVOs and all the other great fighting game tournaments that are going on, and so we need some avenue, and we will have an avenue of an even play field.
Well, what about just people like me who are like okay at the game, but I'm not like a top tier player? Is there going to be a ranked mode?
Oh,
and in ranked mode, will I be fighting people with crazy gear sets?
I suspect, well, the game doesn't come out until 2017, so we haven't fleshed out all the details, but I would imagine exactly like you had said, if somebody wants to play ranked with their leveled up character, we should provide them some kind of a venue for that. And at the same time, somebody might want to play in a tournament kind of setting and rank himself with that. So I'd be surprised if we didn't accommodate both of those players.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to take a look at Batman and Aquaman on a different map, ideally.
Yes.
I really like the Metropolis map, and there's some lore there in the background. We saw it in the trailer.
Yeah.
So Batman, there's Superman statues in the background holding Lois Lane, but Superman was the villain of the first Injustice.
Yeah.
What's going on in that level?
Yeah, currently that background is kind of like inspired as like a memorial, I don't want to give away too much of the story.
Yeah.
But there is certainly there are some who are vested interest in bringing Superman back to power, have an incentive to do that, and so some of them were involved in some of the construction of some of the arenas, and so we have a lot of that will be explained when the story comes in. But yeah, some are vilifying Superman and some are kind of
making him a hero.
Exactly.
Interesting. So there's two perceptions about what Superman did.
Exactly. There's certainly a divide there.
Okay, level transitions are back. The one on this stage is on the far right.
Oh yeah, this is great. We're you actually knocked your opponent outside.
And how are you changing these in any way? They're just kind of there as.
Well, they're shorter first of all, and so you see quickly the action starts up again. But we do have the different kind of palette of options, and objects in the background you can fight with. That's always been kind of like a signature thing with Injustice is the arena. We describe it as like the third character. It's like considerable involvement in how you play the game.
In the first Injustice, I would constantly pick Aquaman stage because it didn't have stage transitions. I know you can turn them off,
Yes.
But are there levels like that in Injustice 2?
Yes, we are going to have some that are just a single arena, and this is that on-demand one we were talking about.
That looks like a nasty fish bite.
Yeah.
One thing we actually didn't cover off on, wagers are back. You brought them back. There's definitely some facial animation going on. Tell me about that.
Well, you know, like one of the things that, again, we're trying to really do with this and acknowledge each other as much as possible. So, you know, the clash really gets them a chance to talk. The intros that we were seeing have them talk. You know, there's so much lore with these characters, so much like you know, some of their conversations make reference to some of the famous, you know, DC comics that have come out over the years. So there's great nods to that, and so that's always exciting when you hear something. It's like, oh, I remember that from, you know, Flashpoint or something like that. So
yeah. This stage, is this a reference to a comic, or because our comics editor thought it was a reference to one of the Infinite Crisis stages?
This is really part of the continuation of our story. It involves a rebuilding of Metropolis, you know, and so that's again part of the story of you know, who is the on the side of wanting Superman to, you know, to his regime to be happening again versus, you know, Batman's side.
Batman got some new gear here. Could we? Oh, never mind. They switched out. That's okay. Let's check out the last stage, and maybe we could go into the gear system really quick and showcase some of the different stuff that people can equip.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is your gear menu where you can kind of look at everything you've unlocked and then equip it to each character.
Exactly. You know, when you're playing the game and you're getting very frequent drops, a lot of drops of gear. You don't want to equip yourself with every single thing that you get. You know, something might not be as good as your strategy if you want more defensive stuff, and then you're getting it. But this lets you basically manage it. You can see all the stats related to it. We have these things that we're currently calling X stats. You can change the color palette of your character and kind of like sculpt the version of the character that you want as far as its looks as well.
Yeah, so you can design them aesthetically, but if we look at the stats here, level 20 looks like the max level. You hack the system a little bit. Then you got strength, ability, defense, and HP. I was talking about normalizing before. Like, I'm very confused about how you're going to manage to do that. There just has to be like stats off, cosmetic only.
Yeah. Well, exactly. And the you know, we really want you to strive to get those stats as high as you can, as far as, like, you know, playing against other people's characters.
Yeah.
But like I said, you know, if you go to a tournament, you're not bringing all your characters with you, and so you want some base level that will be the tournament setting.
Definitely. So now they're geared out. How is this going to change the play style?
Well, each character has a number of parts on their costume that they can change. It's actually different for each character, and so the original version of your character has certain stats, and then each one of those is upgraded with those with the gear pieces that they have. I haven't memorized each one of those that they does. There's literally thousands of them, and there's a certain amount.
Yeah, like our eye lasers were purple there.
Exactly. That's one of the some of the visuals. Some of them are aesthetics too. Like, you want the different color eye lasers. Some are aesthetics and statistics.
If we could, really quick, let's see that stage transition for the Metropolis one. I'm kind of cueing the guys in the background playing the game like, hey, do that stage transition on the other side. So aesthetically, Batman changes, but you can also unlock certain moves.
Yes.
What kind of moves can you unlock?
Well, you know, like when you have the game, you start off with the Batman, you're going to have a super number of moves. You know, you throw a batarang, throw it at an angle, use your grappling hook. There is a triple Batman, triple batarang throw that you can unlock, and you know, those moves become part of your arsenal of characters while you're wearing that, while you're leveled up to that point, and then also you can start enhancing those moves with certain gear, like actually up its damage or something like that, and constantly, you know, just kind of leveling up your character.
Yeah, so like when you fight Batman, you're really not going to know what you're going to get going in. There's a base set,
yes,
but it's going to be really tricky.
Yeah, and it's going to be, to me, it's going to be one of the most exciting things is going online and seeing all these different this almost infinite number of Batmans that you're going to be fighting, Aquaman. So you really don't know what you're going to get. It is at its core, it's Batman. It's not like Batman's going to suddenly get heat vision like Superman does or something. It will be fundamentally Batman, but we're trying to give the players as many access to as many variables as possible to mold the character.
I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask that you have thousands of pieces of gear that you can get. Is this setting the game up to do a microtransaction system?
Well, it's absolutely not setting the game up to do it. We haven't decided what we're going to do for the people who don't want to spend. This feature, if I would describe it, I would say it's something that we would like to see lasting, months, many months, and the process of playing it up. Some players may not want to actually spend all that time to level up their characters, and they may want some kind of another way to do it, but we haven't really made any kind of decisions based on that stuff.
Got it. Thank you, Ed. I am super excited about Injustice 2. I hope you guys are also. Thank you so much for coming on our show today.
We absolutely appreciate you having us. It's always great to see you guys.
Like I said at the beginning, it's always a pleasure. Thank you. Guys, you want more Injustice?
Creative brains that we can put all the blood aside and put into the go into superhero mode. With the first Injustice, there's inevitably characters that we couldn't include, and a lot of really angry. I'm sorry, passionate players demanding that they have it, and so this is a good opportunity for us to do that. Like these Atrocitus, Gorilla Grodd, Supergirl. These are the characters that we're kind of introducing here, as well as this big, what we're calling the gear system for the game.
What's that selection process like? Because obviously it involves you, it involves the vocal fans, and then presumably it also involves DC. So how do you come out to get your sort of full deck of characters?
We usually come up with a list that's like 80% of what we ended up being. As we write the story, we have these very detailed kind of cinematic stories that we do. The writers, need characters that they can, a certain amount of villains, certain amount of heroes, and we want to be able to accommodate that. And DC also, joins the conversation, and then of course, the passionate players who really let their points be heard on Twitter and social media.
And through the mailbox and shouting outside your house, I'm sure, and everything.
Exactly.
We're having a look at some gameplay right here. Gorilla Grodd already going at it.
Yes, two of the new additions to our roster. Gorilla Grodd, who's the villain of the Flash, and Atrocitus, who was kind of like a big, angry, bloody Red Lantern, kind of almost like the opposite of Green Lantern, who's and Atrocitus is kind of like an anti-hero, but he's got a lot of anger issues, and but they're so far two of our big brawler characters. Grodd's kind of interesting in that he has these kind of big gorilla ape moves, but he also has kind of telekinetic moves, which is like kind of like a Kenshi or an Ermac or something like that. It's a great combination of the two.
We'll talk about the gear system in a second, but how is the fighting developed? Is it very much similar to Injustice, the first one we played 2 years ago?
The groundwork is Injustice. I mean, we're with every game we try to add layers for players to kind of learn and master. Like a lot of these. The fighting game tournaments, the hardcore guys, we're really into the whole esports thing. We've been doing with Mortal Kombat X, and in the first Injustice, we've been participating pretty heavily into the tournament scene, and so we've added a number of kind of like lower level stuff that some players may never quite experience, but the hardcore guys who really want to dig deep can really devour.
And talk to us a little bit about the gear system. So how does this work? Is it just like unlocks? Is it purely aesthetic?
Sure, it's gear, and probably in the simplest of terms, I would describe gear as costume pieces that actually power up your character. So when you finish a fight, we're going to have these drops where basically, and the victory screen also rewards you with this gear, and you have the choice of equipping your character with that gear or not. And so there's a molding, so to speak, of as you keep getting gear, you keep deciding if you want to use it, and you want to focus on offense or defense or enhance certain moves or unlock certain moves, and you'll see here that the gear is being rewarded, and the player has the opportunity to equip their character with that gear right away, or to kind of save it in a like a
vault, or
exactly, and then they can equip their player for certain missions or something like that if they really want to beef up their defense or offense or enhance this one move or something like that. And that kind of customization really results in visually and gameplay wise, it's your Grodd, it's your Superman, your Batman, your Aquaman, and that's really the kind of foundation of what we're building our main gameplay around.
Go for a bit.
I've got a question. Who is this rocket-powered cat that keeps flying in from Atrocitus?
He is off. Atrocitus is a Red Lantern. There's a whole spectrum of colors, and he is actually another Red Lantern. His name is Dexstar. It's part of the DC lore. And they're kind of they kind of work together, and so we incorporated him into the fighting. He shoots projectiles.
Oh yeah, look.
He does all these.
Oh man,
he's adorable.
He is.
And then, and we have a.
You're speaking to a good crowd here as well. Two of us are cat lovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's awesome. People who know the Atrocitus, kind of backstory and lore will really appreciate his cameo there.
How is the gear stuff going to play into what you were talking about earlier with esports? Are you going to lock that stuff out? Is it,
Yeah, well, certainly, with the gameplay changes are you're going to have a significantly more powerful version of Superman after you've been, gearing him up and leveling him up. So we will obviously have something to level things out for things like tournaments and whatnot, because you don't want to have, somebody coming in with a level 50 Superman against a level 1 Batman or something like that. But we certainly have plans to do like a more level playing field version.
DC are also keeping pretty busy on their own media front. The development of Batman versus Superman, has that affected your development at all, or like even Supergirl, like what they're doing there? Has any of that sort of bled into what you're doing in Injustice?
No. I mean, a lot of what we do is kind of we draw inspiration from the comics and the movies, and the animated shows is a really big one too. But pretty much the development of our stuff is independent of the movies and all that.
Yeah. And it must be fun, I guess. Second time around, there's probably a bit more trust there as well. They've seen what you've done. Like previously, it was like, okay, these crazy Mortal Kombat devs are going to take our DC characters and make them rip each other's throats out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when we were pitching the first game, one of the things I would always say is we have no intention of tearing Batman's head off. We have no intention of doing anything, Mortal Kombat like. Our studio is filled with, superhero fans, and so we just love this kind of stuff. With some of the moves we come up with are drawn on inspiration on something we might have seen in the animated series or something like that, and so we love these kind of nods to the stuff. Anybody who's a fan of these characters, you're really going to see how much we love the characters too.
Peter, I know you're a massive Mortal Kombat fan as well. 8 out of 10 on GameSpot. We gave Mortal Kombat X.
We did, yes.
Last year.
Yeah, and actually, I'm very curious. I understand the different series, obviously, but what did developing Mortal Kombat X, and then the reception that followed, how did that inform your approach to Injustice 2, if at all? I have to imagine there's some sort of
after every game, we can kind of take a step back and kind of, ask ourselves, what resonated with people, what could we have done better, and we always kind of accumulate that stuff and put it into it. One of the things that we've always wanted to do, as a studio, what we're always kind of moving towards is allowing the player to have more control over their character. And so, with Mortal Kombat X, we were like, okay, we're going to make 3 versions of these characters.
Right.
You get to choose which one you like. They have differences that in terms of their style of gameplay, letting them select it. Now we're kind of like taking the next step of saying, okay, these variables that we're messing with, we're going to give you access to these variables and let you change things around. And then that kind of inspired the leveling things up. And so this is really like a overall big picture direction that we're going with fighting games. We really feel like, the more customization and things that players feel like they're involved in growing of these characters, the more, it's just a more fun experience.
Does the gear system purely work within the limits of the game, or is there a microtransactions element to that as well?
No, well, we haven't. Honestly, we're really just getting the whole system up and ready. We haven't really had any discussions about like microtransactions and whatnot. I think big picture wise, we really want an experience that is just long lasting. We just want somebody to, like, when you start playing your game, your Supergirl is just a completely different character than what it ends up being, gameplay-wise and visually. It's not a create a character thing. We definitely don't want to like give the impression like we're changing the nose shape and doing all these kind of things like that. But as far as like the way you want your character to play, it is still fundamentally Supergirl, but it is you controlling the variables that we're exposing to you.
You guys have got a sort of a great little staple of games that people are enjoying in terms of fighting games. You've got the Mortal Kombat series, which has come to life in the past 5 years again. You've got Injustice. Are you guys sort of locked into those now on a biannual cycle?
It's been that way so far, but I don't think we've had like this kind of big picture plan that's just how it's kind of worked out. It's interesting, with Mortal Kombat X, we've had the most downloadable characters, Pretty recently, we introduced, Alien and Leatherface and all that stuff. And so
Cyborg.
Exactly. And those have been featured in, like, we just had the ESL tournament this last Saturday. It was like $200,000 in prizes. And I was there, and it was the first time that I was like, we were talking about Mortal Kombat, and then Injustice has since been introduced, so I was bouncing between the two games. But I think as we continue to support these games for a longer period of time, that may affect, the release of the next game. Just because we really want the games just to be a longer lasting experience and new content coming.
Is there going to be a really large, robust story mode like we saw in Mortal Kombat?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Every game we really try to kind of up the previous ones as far as like that whole cinematic presentation, and then it sets up the fight, and then the player participates with that. We're adding some really cool twists that we're gonna probably towards the end of the year we'll be talking a little bit more about the story mode and some of the changes we're making to it. But it is going to have that really that big cinematic experience.
And are all these sort of like story details therein concocted by your team, or are they pulled directly from the comics and the animated?
Well, it is from this universe that I guess we kind of created. DC it's awesome how they have the multiverse.
Yeah.
So we can say, okay, in our version of the multiverse, Superman's this dictator, Batman's taking him down, Superman kills Shazam, and all of these things, and that has kind of spawned the comic book, which has been like, it's become like this its own thing, which has really elaborated on that lore. So we're going to continue in that story.
Gotcha.
Continue that whole thing. So the comic was like the pre-chapter. First game is the first chapter. Second game is the second chapter. It's a lot of cool stuff coming.
Nice.
Yeah. Do you get involved in that stuff yourself a lot? Mortal Kombat always feels like it has a lot of Ed Boon in terms of, like these are characters who you've been crafting for 20 years, I guess.
Yeah, over 20 years.
Is it the same for Injustice as well? Or
yeah. It's the like I said, it's we have a studio of 150 people who just love superhero things, and so it's all big collaborative effort in terms of the story writing, the game features, the design, what the characters do. It's a very involved process. We have in Mortal Kombat, we have fatality meetings. Somebody stands up, talks about how, and
I think you should rip out his butthole. Is that what it's like?
I don't think that's ever been said, but stuff to that nature.
I should get in those
meetings.
Hire Danny. Yeah. I got loads of those.
You should attend.
They're all butthole related, though.
There's a bunch of questions coming through from the chat as well, mostly about is X in game, but also some other folks wondering, are you guys going to be using GGPO?
Yes. I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things that Mortal Kombat XL introduced was this rollback system that dramatically improves the online experience.
Right.
Everything that we've learned, we're applying into Injustice 2, so it's going to have a great online netcode.
How many characters were in Injustice at launch?
I think we started with 24 and we added 6, and then we ended with like 30, not including like some of the guest skins and stuff like that.
So presumably you're going to do something similar for Injustice 2?
At the very least. You know, MK9, Injustice, MKX have all added to the previous games in terms of DLC characters and kind of long-term support, and we plan on continuing that direction with Injustice.
What do you think the sweet spot is for that? Because obviously, like, gamers are very, you know, reticent when it comes to DLC and thinking like, oh, you know, I bought this game for X amount and it doesn't have everything I want. But I haven't seen that much of a backlash with those games specifically. Is there some sort of trick to it? Is it about having a decent amount of characters that they want up front, or?
I think like we've never had like a character that was, you know, on the disc, done, and we asked you, you know, to when we release the game, we are knee deep in working on the DLC,
right?
You know, and so, you know, just in order to release a game that has more characters like that, we have to do we have to continue working on it. It's like a long process after the game is launched.
All right. And we have some more gear here. What type of gear are we looking at?
Oh,
chest plates, crowns.
Yeah, Kryptonian crown. Superman. There's like this headgear that actually represents one of the looks that he has in our stories. Like, you know, he's a little bit more of a dictator. And so we have elements that let you kind of craft Superman that looks like that. You know, we have a chest that is the Red Sun Superman. You can, you know, equip your guy with that and have him look like that. So you notice that Superman's wearing it now, and so, you know, that enhances. You know, you can do things like, you know, have a little bit more damage with environment, or a little bit more blocking damage, or enhance a certain special move. You can unlock a special move. It's really, you know, like I said, it really gets customized.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Really appreciate you taking time to join us here on the GameSpot stage. When will we be playing Injustice 2?
You will definitely be playing in 2017, and we'll probably narrow it down in a few months.
Sometime next year.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate your time. Thank you very much for watching. We have loads more games coming up over the next couple of hours. Watch Dogs 2, Tekken 7.
You know, Aquaman, Superman, Batman, everybody is aware of, but you know, the introduction of Supergirl, which is really exciting. The Flash's villain, Gorilla Grodd, is also a lot of fun. He plays, you know, different than you'd expect. And Atrocitus, who is kind of like, you know, a big, red, angry version of Green Lantern.
Yeah.
You can think of him as that way. Red Lantern. He's the opposite of Green Lantern in almost every way. But you know, I guess we can go ahead and start the gameplay with them and give you an idea of this new system that we're introducing in Injustice 2. You know, with Injustice, you know, we always say, oh, you know, it's big battle of the gods, huge destruction, transitions, multiple arenas. It's awesome. And with the sequel, of course, we're going to add new characters, you know, and expand on that whole thing. But the gear system, what we're calling the gear system, is really like the foundation of what is brand new, what we're bringing to the table, differentiated from Injustice, as well as differentiating it from other fighting games.
Wow, very cool. So, like, with each match that you fight, you'll be grabbing gear, or how does that work?
Yeah, so like after a fight is done, you're going to acquire some gear, and the gear actually powers up your character. So every character in the game has thousands and thousands of, you know, boots, utility belts, cowls, capes, insignias, and when you finish playing the game, it's kind of like XP. You know, you're getting a drops of gear, and then you get to actually apply them to your character, and they power your character up in different ways. You know, defense. You know, your strength, your abilities that you use in the you know, with your special moves and your health meter, and you are in a constant process of leveling up.
So now, does this carry on to like online also? Like, will I be able to face like, you know, Superman versus my Superman, where it's decked out differently?
Yeah, and you know what you said is really key. It's like your Superman, your Batman, your Aquaman against somebody else's, and it's all personalized, and it is you literally
customizing, molding your version of these characters that go up against somebody else's.
I love that idea because you see so often, there's certain characters who will be more popular than others, and you see a lot of mirror matches. But now, like you said, like you can have your, maybe I'll focus on like more offense type gear, versus maybe Swifter's defense type, gear.
Exactly.
Sounds great.
You notice here there's this big transition. You can throw your opponent into a new arena where there's a whole new palette of objects that you can actually use in the fight. That was, something that really resonated with the last Injustice, and we really wanted to bring it over. And you look at these characters again, with Atrocitus. He's all about anger and hate and blood. So he has all these kind of blood moves. He can bring out the
and flying cats.
Yeah. His name's Dexstar, and he's actually also a Red Lantern in the DC lore.
Wow.
And so Atrocitus can bring him out, use him, and he actually aids in the battle of fight. Yeah, it's exciting. And Gorilla Grodd is all about big kind of primal moves mixed in with telekinetic moves. He's blasting them down back into the street arena where.
I was just going to say, and here we see the environmental interaction again.
Yeah, busting through walls, bouncing off. You
Exactly.
feel the power of like these attacks.
Oh yeah, and we always describe it as like the battle of the gods, And so Grodd here is his.
That's what I love seeing too. Just like these two brawlers beat the crap out of each other.
The variety of characters in this game is actually going to be even wider than the last one. So here is where we were talking about in terms of the gear. Like when you finish a round, your characters are leveling up. You see the stats of their strength and all that. But then this gear that you're rewarded with, the Curse of Rage, his new arms for Atrocitus, and Grodd has these. You can also be awarded gear for other characters.
Yeah, I just noticed.
You want to level up your other characters. It kind of gives you an incentive to really build up the entire cast.
That is very cool.
That is all. I'm actually really, really excited about like the loot drop system and like looking at like, if I face off against a man who's got like, that awesome gauntlet. Like, what am I going to do? Like, counter that or whatever.
Exactly. Or when you go online and you see somebody wearing some crazy crown, you're like, where did you get that?
Exactly.
And so there's a lot of kind of like this big collection mechanic going on.
Oh man, when is this coming out? I'm sorry, I'm like jumping to that, but I just want to play.
No, of course.
Unfortunately, we got to wait until 2017.
Oh,
for it to come out. Yeah, but it's going to be worth the wait. Like we were saying, there's bigger roster of characters. This whole gear stuff is going to be so exciting, and just another great opportunity is with the first Injustice. There's always characters who didn't get in the roster.
Oh, of course.
And a bunch of angry people that characters didn't get into the game. So a lot of it is satisfying those people, wanted to see Atrocitus, wanted to see Super.
Yeah, comic book fans in particular could be pretty vocal when they are not listening to.
And it's a great thing. I'd rather have people passionate about it, even if passion.
That's a nice polite way to put it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. People care, and these games, of course, there are fans of just Injustice itself. Like we were talking about earlier, the comic book Injustice has really taken off, and fans just love the setting, like the story that the first game brought.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was such a great kind of summary of the events leading up to the first game. That's what was so cool about it. He really has anger issues.
Like you said, I love that idea that you guys come from the perspective that it's like the gods, like just these beings with like ultimate powers, just throwing down.
Exactly. It's kind of like thinking of you have these super powered beings all kind of assembled, and a story that kind of gives them a reason to want to beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah. So, are there any changes to like the combo system or like the mechanics? I'm sure you guys are still kind of tweaking that, of course.
Yeah, we're always refining it. We every game we really want to add nuances that not only can be appreciated by kind of casual guys, but the hardcore fighting game guys. We really are big fans of esports and everything, and we really want to have this game be a big part of it with tournaments and all that stuff. So there's a lot of really deep layers that we've added to the game for those players.
love seeing the back and forth there, like even as you choose the characters.
Yeah,
that's a big part. Back, like in Mortal Kombat, you always have like these like awesome, very custom interactions between characters, and is that like
exactly? We were so happy with how that turned out. You know, and these characters, you know, they have a lot of them have relationships with each other, and they have stories famous stories. They make references to those stories. It's great. So you see a lot of nods to the to some of the comics you might have read, or so, or something you might have seen in other media. And it's great how you see those relationships. So they talk to each other before a fight, and it really kind of you'd be surprised how much it really adds a level of depth.
It really does.
Absolutely, staying true to like the original kind of like source material that has come before. Because these characters, these are like the forefathers of the whole superhero comic scene, and very cool that you guys have taken that into account as well. Kept it in the game.
Yeah, we're and characters like the returning characters, Aquaman and Batman, Superman. What's cool is we've given them new moves and really kind of updated them. So like they're your favorite character. You love how they play. There's going to be some familiarity about it, but there's also other layers of stuff.
Yeah. Oh man.
Poor Aquaman.
She's not messing around. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a transition into a train. I don't know if you guys have seen it on the right side. That is really cool because it's got you can actually the guy is actually like kind of spinning through the train here.
We're about to see it. Yeah.
There we go.
Aquaman.
That's great.
I love how it's Aquaman too. He's just getting knocked around.
Poor Aquaman.
Yeah, he's got this awesome super move that's. It's probably one of my favorite ones in the game right now. It's just kind of really, it's just so ridiculously over the top. Yeah. Considering his last one had this big sharp, he really wanted to have something that kind of one-upped that whole thing.
Wow!
Is this it, or
I think we're seeing it right now. Look at that! Oh, it's looking like prehistoric.
It's not even over.
Wow!
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I just want to say, Supergirl, she actually deserved that. Like, she's been knocking him around a while.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Oh man, I'm probably most excited for the loot system though. That sounds like so like amazing. Just keep me coming back. Looking forward to the end of every match.
Exactly. Like fighting games are really all about traditionally have been about here's the character that we made. You learn it, you master it, you get it. Now we're all about kind of giving the player more personalization into it and an ongoing molding of your character and the constant process of getting the drops and everything is really cool.
Right.
The rare legendary, things like that.
The game is looking fantastic. You said we're going to be waiting until 2017 to be able to play it.
Yeah. It'll be worth the wait, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Like
as I always tell game devs, you just take all the time you need. I would rather play a game that you guys are ready to release rather than rushed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. And so what platforms is it going to be available on?
Right now, we've announced it's coming out for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Okay.
And, so we'll see as time goes on.
Sweet.